this lifeless wasteland into a blue planet with ice-covered mountains, lush jungles, and twisting canyons. It's a story 4.5 billion years in the making, and it starts with a bang. Just over 4.5 billion years ago, something happened to our world that would change it forever. A planet the size of Mars collided with our own, fusing them both together. The collision ignited the engine that would ultimately change our world, transforming it from a desolate wilderness into the verdant planet we know today. We are learning new things about our planet every day. And this is not the kind of geology that can be examined in a lab. To understand it takes a new kind of scientist. Extremes to get answers. To crack the real Earth story, they have to live it. What they have discovered is that wave after wave of catastrophe and cataclysmic violence would combine to create the world as we know it. This tranquil blue planet was forged by Armageddon. 4.5 billion years ago, the Earth was a volcanic hell. The gases from this chaos formed a primitive atmosphere. Hydrogen combined with oxygen in that atmosphere to create water, which eventually covered the planet. But there was no land in the vast seas of the early Earth, just water, stained green by iron leaking from the Earth's core. So where did land come from? The answer lies not on the surface, but deep in the heart of the planet. The world as we know it floats on a sea of molten rock, known as magma, that bubbles just beneath the crust on which we walk. Because when the two worlds collided 4.5 billion years ago, they fused together to create a planet so huge that the extreme pressures melted its interior. The result was lava, rock heated to such enormous temperatures that it turns to liquid. This is the essence that created the world. Of the early Earth, where the crust was only 3 miles deep, lava would push up to the surface through weak points, known as hotspots, dotted all over the planet. And off the coast of Hawaii, geologist Lloyd French can still see it in action today. He is observing a process that's been happening for more than 4 billion years.
This is island building at its finest. You're dealing with molten rock here. It's not like it's a fireplace or a firewood. This is actually rock that's on fire.
Liquid magma from the furnace below forces its way through the crust. As the lava hits the water, it solidifies.
You see how it crusts over as the water hits it? It looks like inches upon inches and then slowly feet upon feet, and then before you know it, you have a fairly well-developed new island.
As more lava builds on top of the hardening crust, new land rises from the sea. And an island is born. 4 billion years ago, our planet was a world of island volcanoes rising from a noxious green sea. But that's only half the story. To turn islands into continents takes a force even more unstoppable than lava. The entire surface of the world is made of tectonic plates. Segments of the Earth's crust that spread from weak spots in the ocean floor and drift over the magma within the Earth. Their edges are marked by massive amounts of volcanic activity. Because when plates collide, all hell breaks loose. As one plate grinds under the other, it forces the crust upwards into giant mountain chains, creating land in an inferno of volcanic activity. This activity is called continental drift, and this is the force that builds the world. For billions of years, continental drift would build bigger and bigger land masses. Until about 1.8 billion years ago, a gigantic collision created the conditions that would revolutionize life on Earth. Adventurer Will Gadd has come to the Grand Canyon, where geologist Carl Karlstrom will show him evidence of that event. At the very bottom of the canyon lies a layer of rock that is more than 2 billion years old. It's a crucial piece of evidence in the history of the Earth because it bears all the hallmarks of a continental collision.
Check this out. This is fantastic. The layering and the banding here, which these are amazing metamorphic rocks.
So what are the bands here?
Well, imagine the forces when two continents collide. And you can see the evidence. They're just flowing along here, these nice little bands. There's a whole indication these rocks are formed by tremendous squeezing during a plate tectonic collision 1.8 billion years ago. Really, these are some of the oldest rocks in the Grand Canyon.
This rock marks the moment when a continent was created. About 1.8 billion years ago, a small group of prehistoric islands got in the way of a giant landmass as it drifted across the Earth's crust.